Am I truly live? I don't feel alive. I don't feel alive. Now, where can I put this to where it'll really drive myself nuts? Phew. Is there anybody out there? Why does it take so long for chat to show up on StreamYard? I have to figure that one out. Hey, Ken, how you doing, sir? Good evening. Welcome to the Nut House. uh, I'm just going to stick that over there. I've got 5 people watching. Nice. No idea. How we doing this evening? Yeah, I have no idea who the 5 people are. But, oh, we've now got 7. Can I tell? Will it tell me? Nope, it won't tell me. Yeah, I can thank Rodney for this. Yeah, he actually texted me earlier this afternoon and said, "Hey, look, I'm going to be out. Can you do it live tonight?" And I'm like, "Well, what time do you usually do it?" He said 7, and I'm like, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna have to do a little bit later, and I'm kind of glad I did because we had a delivery come to the house this evening or this afternoon, and they left it in the street. So I had to move it. It was 44 blocks of 24-inch by 24-inch paving stone. Each stone weighed about 20, 25 pounds a piece, minimal. Yeah, so that's what I ended up having to do before getting well. I had that, and then I ate dinner, and then I'm here. So at least I think I'm here. Hey, cousin Vinny. Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Martin. Oh man, David's hobbies and things. Welcome aboard, sir. Uh, cool. Cloverdale Rail. Welcome aboard. Oh man. So since this was a little bit impromptu, to say the least. Oh man. I really haven't done a whole lot on the railroad. In fact, what vlog am I up to? I think I'm up to vlog 16. Um, uh, I started recording it earlier this week, and I'm not sure if I don't think being what was his name, Santa Fe Bob. Santa Fe Bob brought something up to me um, on my last vlog. Actually, it may have been the Saturday Night Maintenance live stream that I did. Either way, about JMRI and the fact that he's using it, even though he's still DC. And I'm like, well, okay, well, I'll look into it and see what I think. And I tell you what, I've been playing around with that program off and on all week long. I can see where that is going to be really nice. Even though I don't need it, I don't, obviously, I don't have it to where it's going to interface with the railroad, but just being able to track where locomotives are, where certain cars are, so on and so forth, that's really, really nice. Now, one of the things that I did notice, and I figured it out too late, is the fact that you can import from Excel your inventory, but it has to be in a particular format. And I didn't realize, I tried saving mine off or copying and saving it off into the format that I thought it needed to be in, and it didn't work. So I've been manually entering, and which is the reason why there's a box behind me here. I've been manually entering all my rolling stock in, which is fine, but it's a little bit more tedious that way. But I'm actually, if I get to the point, which I'm sure I'm going to, it would be kind of neat to be able to have a computer interface into the railroad specifically for the dispatcher, being able to throw the signals and things of that nature. Obviously, I don't know how I'm going to do that yet, so, but that's down the line. I mean, as I've mentioned before, the first thing I have to do is I have to get this track to where it's not going to be shifting all over the place, because that's been causing me problems. Hey, Jerry. Evening. Where the heck are you going, Marcel? You're moving. Oh, yeah, my other antiques. That is an old Kenwood system that my parents, well, myself and my parents had built up for me. Old dual deck tape player, a receiver, a 12 band per side equalizer. I actually bought that when I was in the service, and a 5 disc CD changer, which unfortunately is not working. But the only thing that's not Kenwood here is the turntable. That's an old Techniques, because I do have records, and the records that I have aren't what you would think they would be. They actually came from my grandparents. They're old Reader's Digest, the Age of Swing, and things of that nature. So yeah, I've got some. And of course, they're not out here. They're actually in the back room, because we had to move things around out here at one point. But yep. But sharp eyes there, cousin Vinny. Sharp eyes. Oh, now if I could just get comfortable. Yeah, actually, I'm sitting here at my quote unquote office from the showstopper. So this is my office. This is my desk. uh, at least I have the option where I can work from home. Let me see. I want to see something here real quick, because okay, it does not look like Sparky has been in. Good. Um, I actually had a thought, folks. Um, which is a scary thing. Um, but with this showstopper going on, and the fact that I'm not sure how many people caught it last night, or caught Sparky's show last night, where they basically still charged him like 300 and some odd dollars for the train ride that we're not going to be able to take. um, but I was thinking I might go ahead and try and shoot him a couple bucks, basically to help out with that shortfall. Oh boy, Mr. Sparky, what's going on, Dave? Yeah, you're not. I tell you what, you can't get rid of me that easy. Yeah, can't get rid of me that easy. See, you see, I know that this whole thing, you just didn't want to see me in May. That's what it was. Oh man. So yeah. So like I said, I've got this. You know what? I'm going to take that off. It's driving me nuts. No hats on the table though. There we go. Everybody gets to see my fro. Maybe I'll try and cut this off this weekend. So what's everybody up to? I'm up to about 6'2". What's in the box of goodies behind me? Well, what's in the box? What's in the box is rolling stock from the Harrisburg staging yard. If you, I don't know if you were actually in here, Shane, when I was talking about it, but Santa Fe Bob had mentioned to me, I believe it was during my live maintenance show that I did this past Saturday night, about JMRI. And hey, say there. Speaking of the devil, there he is, Santa Fe Bob. Man, see that I'm talking about you. What is? I can go ahead and talk about somebody and they show up. I like that. The ears were burning. Anyway, he was talking about JMRI, that you could still use it even if you have a DC layout, which obviously I have. And I went ahead and I actually downloaded it. I think it was Sunday. And I started playing around with it, and I'm still learning it. Obviously, it's taken a couple of days to really get into the swing of it. But I tell you, I just got a text message. Hold on a minute. Oh, you know what? Uh-huh. Yeah, our buddy Model Railer is texting me. Of course, no, we're not, and I'm not going to talk about it anyway. So I was playing around with JMRI, and one of the things that and of course I didn't figure it out until late last night. What happened? I tried to import my inventory sheet from Excel, and it didn't. The JMRI didn't like it, so I just went back to. Actually, it was. Yeah, I figured it out last night. Anyway, I figured out why it didn't import. But up to that point, I've been manually putting everything into JMRI, and that's the reason why this box of stuff is sitting behind me. This is the caboose, and the two outbound passenger trains that are supposed to be in stage to leave Harrisburg. And the easiest way to do this was just to go ahead, pack them up, put them in a box, bring them over here, type away on the computer, and then when I'm done, put them back in the box and take them back over to the hidden yard and put them back on the track. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And as I said, I'm liking the way that JMRI does things so far. One of the things that I want to take a look into a little bit deeper is the fact that I want to be able to assign certain locomotives to my passenger trains. Case in point, I've only got one Southern diesel to pull the Crescent Limited. And I don't want, if I was going to use GMRI to go ahead and pull that, I don't want it to pick any other locomotive than that one particular locomotive to pull those trains or to pull those cars. So it's one of the things I guess I'm going to have to play around with. I don't know if you can actually do that. I don't know if you can permanently assign a locomotive to a train. Obviously, the freight trains are a lot different. The freight trains, I really don't care what locomotives pull. It doesn't really matter to me. Um, but the thing is that I was sitting there digging into this GMRI thing, going, man, I have no need for the car card and way bills now because that would go ahead and really handle all of that. But then the more I thought about it too, I'm like, well, that's great that the computer would do that, but however, I think I might still do that. I still think I might do the car cards and way bills along with it. But yeah, like I said, it's one of those things. I'm still messing with it. It's in the early stage. As I was mentioning in the newest vlog that'll probably post up tomorrow night or Saturday night. Um, with all the yard work that I've been doing around the house, I've been so stinking sore that there is no way I'm climbing up underneath the layout to do any type of wiring or anything of that nature. Yeah, I could go ahead and start, you know, gluing down all the track, but you know, like I said, I did this JMRI thing was a neat diversion, and I really appreciate Santa Fe Bob sharing that with me last week. I don't look like Randy or Rodney for that matter. Human junction. I'm a Ray, not a Randy or a Rod. Hey, Santa Fe Bob, you know what? One of the things is we might I might want to hit you up since you've been doing this thing for a while. I might try and hit you up on the side or something, and maybe we can get a call together and we can kind of discuss the whole JMRI thing. But yeah, it's cool. Too many R's. Oh, come on, man. Somebody else going to pick on me about the metal posts. That's all right. I'll just go ahead and start messing with Sparky with his clothesline that he was using on his layout. I'm not sure what that was doing there, but I think I was just holding the heel or holding that upper shelf together. No, I'm talking about your clothesline, Sparky. See, what goes around comes around. Anyway, so what else have we got going on there, folks? Because, like I said, on my end, there's not much going on here. Not much at all. I mean, it's. Well, that was good, Shane. That was good. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about, human. Hold on. Let me run this back a second. Too many R's. What metal post? Clothesline. Uh, Gee. I'm glad that we can. Oh, no, there ain't much going on up there either. Nope, nope. Everything's oozed out. It's oh man, that's one of the things. Oh boy. See, Sparky. Uh, okay. Well, we've gone off the deep end here. Sidetracked. Sidetracked on a Thursday. Oh, gotta love it. Gotta love it. Yeah, I tell you, I was really bummed, when, like I said, with the whole with this whole thing that's been going on, and us not being able to catch up in Strasbourg in May. That really stinks. But yeah, well, Shane, if I'm running it, it was already south when it got started. It started out south. Hey, Dave, another Dave. Sheesh. Mark, welcome aboard. I'm finally starting to catch the chat here a little bit, but yeah, it just if there is any. Well, that's the funny thing, humanity. With my vlogs, I don't bother editing anything. And if you hadn't noticed, what you see is what you get. That's the way it's been. I mean, it just I think it's funny. Tom's trains and things. Hey, Possum's Bayou, welcome aboard. Um, Tom's trains and things. I know a couple years ago he went and actually did an outtakes video of all the goof scaps and mistakes and the stuff that he edited out, and that was funnier than heck. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to bother because I'm just going to let it run. I'm just going to let the thing run. Whatever happens, happens. I don't bother editing any of it. It just doesn't make any sense. Although I'm sure people would probably wish that I did because it's getting to the point where a lot of the vlogs are running close to a half an hour now. But there's a lot going on here. I mean, this 36 by 8 foot monster that I've got down here. There's quite a bit that's happened. In almost what 9 months, 8 9 months. I mean, I think the only one that's worked any faster is probably Sparky. That's me. That's me, humanity. Yep, that is definitely me. True, Shane. It does. And like I said, I know that Tom's Trains and Things did that a few years ago. He made a blooper reel, and it was hilarious. But like I said, I just decided when I started doing mine, I was just going to let it. let it record. Whatever happens, happens. I mean, I think there's a couple of them when I was still messing around with the 13 foot by 11 foot layout that things went completely backwards. I mean, literally went completely backwards, and it was like I just let it run. I just was like, you know what? Nope. Yeah, speaking of, it's funny. Cousin Vinny mentioned the record player back here, but on a turntable of a different note, turntable of a never mind. uh, I've got that Walther's 90 foot turntable, and I've messed, I've played, I've fiddled, I've farted with it um, for a few years now. It drives me crazy um, because the bridge track loses connectivity to the leads that are up inside. I don't know if anybody's ever actually messed with one or not, but they put these two wipers that the wires feed off of that go through the base of the thing under the layout. The two wipers are sitting on the axle, and of course, as the thing spins around, those wipers move. I'm almost sure that they're moving, or that axle's changing, where the bearings are sitting, and it just loses connectivity. So it's for playing the Sabbath albums back. Yeah, okay. Nope. Pink Floyd, maybe. Although, never mind. We won't go there. That's another topic for another time. Uh, anyway, I'm going to take one of these nights. I'm actually going to take that turntable out of the layout and take it back to the workbench and take it apart. And I don't know if I'll do a live on it or if I'll just do another vlog on it. How that thing is set up and try to find some way to keep it from losing connectivity to the rails. And like I said, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. It just doesn't seem to want to work for me. I don't know if anybody else has had any issues with theirs or not, or if they even use the Walthers. Watching The Wizard of Oz and listening to Dark Side of the Moon. There you go. Oh. uh, one of the two of my favorite bands. I've got a few favorite bands, but they're up there. Pink Floyd and uh, actually like to watch or listen to ELO. It's another one of my favorites. Gummit. Oh, come on. Stop it. Stupid phone. I can't remember what the heck I did yesterday, much less what I did 25, 30 years ago. Which is one of the unfortunate reasons why I sit there and repeat myself when I do the vlogs. It's getting to the point where I'm going to go back and listen to them, but before I actually go ahead and start recording the next point, so I don't sit there and repeat myself. Oh man. So let's see, what else have I got messing around down here? Trying to think of what else has been going on, because it really hasn't been much happening on the layout this week, other than well, I did test out a couple of the fixes I did the other night. And one of the cars I actually ended up having to take back over to the bench because it's still not working right. It's that one of the tank cars. It keeps jumping the track. I have no idea what's up with it. I got to go back and take another look at it. But some of the other things I'd already tested, those looked okay. The couple of coal cars that I had, I got them straight. So that coal train that I've got now has gotten 2 cars longer. That's a real sucker to watch go around this layout. Yeah, it's like 14 or 15 cars of this. I think they're 70 ton, or not 70 ton. Maybe they are 70 ton. um, but yeah, that train's really neat to watch go around here now. I'll have to. You know what? What the hey? Let's go ahead and pull a Sparky here for a minute. Yeah, unfortunately, I do have to get up and walk around to do this. Yeah, that's one of the things I can fix. Hey, Roy. Yeah, Shane, I'm a fan of the Eastern Railroads. Most of the stuff that I have on the layout is chassis system, but I do have a few other railroads on here as well. But most of it is chassis. Oops. Yeah, let's see. Up there on the that's the shelf, the engine shelf for the northbound yard. There's a BQ-23-7 sitting up there. There's an SD-40. There's obviously an F7, and we were talking about the. Sailboat fuel. I got it. Yeah, there's. Hey Shane, there you go. There's a. I believe that's a 462. I've got a couple different steam engines, but there is a 462 sitting up here. Some of the stuff that I've got here, humanity, most of the chassis stuff was just picked up here and there. It really wasn't. It really wasn't like I went ahead and got it from any particular place or from any type of a set. This is the southbound staging for the Richmond area for the locomotives. You can't really see, but that dark locomotive all the way on the end, that's that Louisville and Nashville RS3 that I was working on the other week. There's another chassis system SD40 sitting up there. There's a C464 for the New Haven. That green locomotive in front of the chassis, that's a Seaboard FTA. And it's pretty. It's like I said, I got a wide variety of stuff sitting here, and then in the back on the outbound tracks, you can barely see it right there. That's a Wabash E8, and then we've got a Virginian F7 sitting over here, and then the other, obviously, the locomotives I'm working on for the northbound side that would be on the tracks in the back. You wouldn't be able to see because of the those box cars that are sitting back here behind the lumber company. They're actually on that interchange track that'll be hidden once I put the backdrop up. And there's another nickel plate PA sitting back here. The U-boats. Yeah, I know what you're talking about there, Shane. Hold on a second. Let me swing back over this way, because I think the U-boats are all on this end. They're behind that Seaboard is a Baltimore, Ohio FP45. Oh, let's see. Actually, down this end, I've got on the outbound for Richmond, you've got the Rock Island U28. And then on the northbound side, I just noticed behind the chassis system BQ23 is a Burlington U-boat U28, and then right behind it's a Erie Lackawanna GP9. And that's not all the locomotives I've got. I've still got a bunch of them in the. I've still got a bunch that are sitting in the repair box that needed to be worked on. Yeah, you gotta love the oversized caulk gun. Are you talking about? You're talking about this guy? That's a nickel plate. That's a nickel plate road PA1, and right behind it is is my RDC pair. Yeah, humanity. Those are paper towel rolls. Eventually, that will be a cement plant. And what's neat about this already. Come on now. uh, oh, up on top, behind the paper towel rolls. That's a. You know what? Is that what you guys were looking at? The Baltimore Ohio 282, and in front of that is a 040 Bicentennial. Yeah, that's an old Lifelike unit. That Spirit of '76. Now the cars that are there, those are actually Tyco passenger cars. And they came with I'm gonna shut this thing off for a minute. Okay, maybe not. The issue that I'm having is the far end of the layout down at the city of Beauville. I have the one power pack that's feeding block one. I've got to turn way up to get the train to go ahead and make the corners down there to be able to come back up here. But by the time it gets back here to the power pack, it's screaming. So yeah, I've got the actual locomotive that belongs with the passenger cars back here. Um, the engine that belongs with those is actually a 460, and unfortunately the traction tire blew up on it, so it's not operable at the moment. But right on the other side of the post, of course you can't really see it. I'll just move it over here into the light. Yay! That wasn't good. I'm supposed to take those down with it. Let me go ahead and pan this back down a second. This little guy is an antique. That is an old Varney 040. That belonged to my dad. It still runs. In fact, it'll be one of the, right now. It's I actually might have some, Shane. Yeah, you're right, Dave. That's the problem. I need to do more feeders. I've actually got. I think, in case you all haven't been watching, I've gotten to the point where I have to. I've got the bus wires, what DCC guys would call bus wires. I've got the main feeders run underneath the layout for all the track. I have to actually glue down the sub road bed and the road bed, and then I can start dropping feeders down to those bus wires. I haven't done that yet. That's one of the things that I need to do, and that's the reason why I've got an issue on the opposite end, because it's just too far away. That block is just way too big. So I've got to. That's one of the reasons why I need to get things moving here to go ahead and get rid of that issue. I know what the problem is. I just need to. I need to get my off my butt when I'm not so darn sore from working outside. And actually start working on that issue. Going ahead, and that's the reason why the caulk gun is sitting over here, because I'm going to be working on going ahead and gluing this stuff down. I got some foam friendly adhesive sitting over on the other side that I'll use for the foam portion, and then go from there. But yeah, Shane, like I said, I do believe I've got some. No, it's a Home Depot special. Jack, the layout is 36 feet by 8 feet. I'm going to probably drive everybody crazy here for a minute, but let me try this, see if I can do this without shaking things too bad. Unfortunately, I'm not as tech savvy as Sparky or some of the others. Whoops. All right. That is the other end. That control panel that's down there is for the yard at Beauville. The second deck I haven't built yet. The city will actually be over top of, well, not over top of the yard, but it'll actually be a second tier that'll be above be somewhat above the track. It'll be above the main line on the backside where that 2x4 is in the back. So that side will be covered, but the forward side where the yard is will not be covered. It'll actually, if anybody's ever seen Camden Yards, it's going to kind of resemble that before they put the stadium in. This section here, where the train's sitting, down to where that control panel is, that whole section is only 15 inches deep. It's 2 tracks on the visible side, and there'll be 2 tracks on the non-visible side. So this hill and all that's here, that'll hide the fact that you're going back to the 2 hidden staging yards, which are over here. And I get a better shot of the staging yards. And as I was mentioning before, these box cars are actually sitting on an interchange track that is behind the backdrop. So it gives me some place to route more cars to, create more traffic on the railroad. And of course, out front here, we've got the log company, or the lumber company. I moved what will be the cement factory. We've got a gravel dealer back here. And then on this end, that big white hill, that'll be a farm eventually. And I'm actually going to be cutting that down. It's a little too tall. So I'm going to go ahead and try and put the camera back on here without shuffling things too bad. Put it back on the tripod. Sorry for the hand. There we go. Yeah, there's a few temporary things sitting out here. Yeah, this is Dave BNS up. This is the biggest layout that I've built in my 40 some years of being in and out of the hobby. I figured I was ready for something like this. The house that I just bought last year, it basically gave me the freedom to go ahead and be able to build this thing. So, it's been quite the undertaking, to say the least. Shut up, Sparky. You and my darn metal posts, man. That stinks, container man. Yeah, this is a little bit better way of, I guess, doing this. I'm going to try and back this out a little bit. There we go. But yep. Like I said, this is the biggest layout that I've ever attempted. Thanks, Santa Fe Bob. I appreciate it. It's been an undertaking, to say the least. It's one of those things I've always heard that, when you take an undertaking like this, or when you finally decide that you're going to build a large layout, it's like, okay, great, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build a large layout, no big deal, until you actually start getting into it. It's once you get into it, you realize that it's quite the undertaking. It does take quite a bit of time even to get it to this point. Like I said, I've been working on this thing off and on since mid-August last year, I think it was. That's, and I've made. I feel fairly good about the progress. I mean, I've done some things on this that might be overkill. Case in point, and Sparky is well aware of this, I ran the layout will have its own electrical system. That was done on purpose because of the fact that I really wasn't happy with how they did the electric in this basement, and there's no real way of without tearing walls down. It wasn't feasible to go ahead and start tearing it all apart. So the layout itself eventually will have its own overhead lighting, daytime and nighttime. There's one circuit for that gets split into two, one for daytime, one for nighttime, because each one of them will have its own dimmer. Every one of the buildings, once they're on the layout, every one of them will have a light in it. I'll have all sorts of street lights. Those will be lit. So that's two more circuits right there, and then there's one more circuit for just the power to for the power packs to the track. So, that part of it was probably took me quite a bit of time just to try and get that run. And there was a lot of debate on what did I miss? I missed something. What the heck did I miss? Yeah, that's the other end, from here. That goes over, and in the back there, you can see there's a bedroom back there and a small little workout room. But then we're going to come back over here and look at my ugly mug, I guess. I'm not sure what's going on in the chat. I must have missed something. But you're right, Sparky, as long as it's enjoyable, which for the most part it has been, along with the little idiosyncrasies. And that's one of the other things with an undertaking like this is you're always going to find things that didn't work the way that you wanted them to, or case in point, if you followed some of the vlogs, I've had issues with about 5 or 6 turnouts where tonight they're working fine, and 3 days from now I'll go to run a train through them, and the thing is electrically dead in both directions. And it's like, what the heck? How does that happen? I mean, I realize that the stuff's been around. I realize that it was recycled from the previous 4 or 5 iterations of this railroad. I get it, but really, that just boggles my mind. I mean, I think I've got three turnouts sitting back on the bench that I've got to go ahead and wire jumpers to so that they'll pass electric again. So those things, happen, and you just have to be prepared for it. As long as you don't get frustrated with it to the point where you start throwing things and cussing it out, then it's all good. I mean, you have, like I said, you have to remember with anything like this, you're gonna end up with issues. It's inevitable. It's just inevitable. I do still have some vinyl, Dave. Yeah, the vinyl that I have though isn't what you would think. It was stuff that belonged to my grandparents. The age of swing and the big band era, and I'm one of these people. I'll listen to just about anything. Um, but I had that because I actually did have some stuff from the 80s, Asia. I'm trying to think of who else I had on vinyl that was actually my own. Like I said, I know I had Asia, but I got a couple others. Oh man, yeah, I've been a fan for a long time, Vinny. I love big band and swing. Um, that was it was different. I guess it's just like anything else. Anyway. Very, very true, Santa Fe Bob. Very, very true. If it works, don't try it again. If it doesn't work, you won't ever try it again. uh, I tell you what, that 1776 460 that Tycho made. My brother actually has the one that my father threw across the room. We specifically built one of the iterations of this railroad. My father and I specifically built the layout so that that particular engine would run across the turn of around the corners. The funniest thing of it is it would work fine on the track that was laid in the 1950s. It hated the track that we laid in the 70s and 80s. Have no idea why. And I'll never forget one afternoon. It wouldn't jump in the front. No, no, no. It would jump in the far back where you couldn't. The only way you could reach it was to actually climb up on the layout to get to it. After about 4 or 5 times that one Saturday afternoon, my father picked that sucker up and tossed it across the room. That was the last time we ran that locomotive on the layout. It still runs. It still runs. It belongs to my middle brother. He's got that one because that was his to begin with. He was born in 1976. But yeah, I'll never forget that. That he picked that sucker up. Whoo, across the room it went. I'm not sure, Jack. I'm not sure if that was the issue, or if there was something else going on because it would run across the front of that layout, which was basically loops. It was one, two, three, four, 5 loops altogether. The front of it would run around that with no problem. It was until it got in the back corner that was where it would jump. And the tracks were all the same. In fact, the tracks that we laid in the back were the tracks that came with the set. So we knew that, and we had that one. We had it running on that, so it would run on that track. So it wasn't the track that was causing the problem. There was just something with that layout. Take it easy, Vinny. North American trains. Wow. Yeah, that's one of the things that we said, Jack. It was definitely very strange as to why that particular, and that was the only locomotive that would do that. Everything else would run across that layout, no problem. In fact, what's even funnier is later on I picked up a Pennsylvania GG1, which unfortunately right now is not working. It's the motor went up in it. Um, for as big as that thing was, it would even go around the 15-inch radius that we had on that layout. It looked funnier than heck because the wheels would all be sticking out the side of the thing, but it would go around that 15-inch radius. Take it easy, Dave. But yeah, I mean, it was that was just one of those weird things, and I had a weird issue on this layout. At one point, I've corrected it since. I've got a SD. It's a Southern SD 24, and right over here by what will be the fascia flat, right up in front, it was jumping on the southbound main. That was the only place it would jump, and it was the only locomotive that would jump. And what I found was is I actually had an issue with a piece of track that was sitting there for whatever reason. Everything else didn't seem to mind it, but the one piece of track was warped, kind of like my mind. But that's beside the point, and that's a different topic for a different time. But hey, Steve, and the closet branch. But sometimes you find those weird things. I mean, it's like Sparky was talking about with his locomotive on the helix. There's one spot where it jumps to where the it derails itself. Just one truck. It could be a bad piece of track. It could be the locomotive itself just being either too tight a gauge or too loose a gauge. And I actually found that out with a flat car that I had, an old Crown flat car, one of them wonderful 4 truck jobs. The wheels were too tight. The actual gauge. Take it easy, Ken. Um, the actual wheels on the truck were too tight. They were too narrow of a gauge, so it was hitting every time it would go through a turnout. It was picking every turnout. So it's one of those goofy things. It's those odd things that you find when you're building a layout or operating a layout. And that's one of the other things too is no matter how well things are done, as soon as somebody is watching you, or as soon as you have somebody over, that's when things go backwards. Never fails. It never fails. Things can sit there and run for hours on end by yourself. As soon as you turn that camera on, as soon as somebody shows up, nope, nope. So, oh man, what else can we do? We're already in an hour. My goodness. Sheesh. Oh. I hear you, Jack. I hear you. At Reboble, your friends are on Johnny and the gang. Just wanted, if you wanted to know. Oh, you're talking about uh Yeah. Big Bill and them. Gotcha. Yeah, that's true, Steve. I've been there, done that. Yeah, I have been there, done that. You're right. If you if you look, my old 13 foot by 11 foot layout had one, two, three, four, five, had eight staging yard or eight staging tracks, and I made the mistake of on the one end actually having a switch covered by the hill that covered the staging tracks, and there was no real way to pull the hill up to be able to get to that staging track to fix it. That was a pain. That when there really irked the crap out of me. It's like of all places to have an issue, it had to be right there. But you know what, folks? Model Railroading Live is on. That's Big Bill and Johnny and them. So you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and call it an evening here. Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. I'm sure that Rodney would appreciate you all hopping in here as well. You all know the deal. Wait for the high ball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch you all next time. Be safe. God bless. See ya.